If you're a guy that's looking for a real healthy relationship in what seems like a very toxic and tumultuous dating climate, I think it's really important for you to get clear on the types of women that you should avoid because to be honest with you, most guys know what types of women they're looking for. Of course, you want somebody who's physically attractive, you want somebody who's loyal, you want somebody who's intelligent, you want somebody with shared values and beliefs. Those are very common things for guys to want in relationships, but I think what really prevents men from getting what they want in relationships is not being able to properly identify red flags early on in the dating process, and guys spend way too much time with women that just are not good for them. So today I'm going to cover 9 key red flags that you need to identify and watch out for in women, especially early on in the dating process. So if you're a man that really wants to improve his dating life and you've never seen my content before, my name is Evan. I run the account Performance Potential here on YouTube and on TikTok. So if this is the kind of content that's going to be helpful for you, make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. So red flag number 1 is something that's very prevalent nowadays because of Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat. And number 1 is going to be the attention seeker. I always refer to the woman who's the attention seeker in the dating market as the woman who constantly needs external validation and acceptance from strangers on the internet because unfortunately she doesn't feel confident and secure in herself. So what this looks like is she's not running any kind of business, she's not running any kind of like fitness account, fashion account, or marketing business, whatever she runs. She's not using her social media as a means to make money or grow her influence for anything other than purely attention. So what this looks like is a woman who posts on TikTok 1 to 2 times a day, doing the trends, dancing, maybe wearing something a little bit promiscuous. And again, like I'm not here to tell women what to wear and what to do. I'm just saying that if you're dating a woman like this, a lot of the time the attention that you give her is never going to be enough because she didn't get enough attention from her parents when she was younger. So now when she's kind of attaching that in a relationship, it's very hard for her to be really fulfilled and satisfied with what you provide in the relationship. And it's never going to be enough. She's always going to need to go to social media, always going to need to read those DMs from people, see those comments, and get that validation from them. It's really easy to weed out the types of women that exhibit these red flags because before you get into a committed relationship with them, you're already going to have seen their social media. Now the difference is, are you going to be a guy who's willing to act on that and not tolerate a red flag like that? Because what happens is most men, they find a woman that they're really attracted to and they'll really tolerate anything just because they're really physically attracted to her. But after a couple years of dating, the physical attraction is what it is. What's going to happen is all these other personality traits and all these other behaviors that both of you are doing, it's going to weigh on one another. So again, don't overlook this red flag because it will bite you in the ass later on. When you start dating any type of woman, but mainly the attention-seeking type of woman, mute her stories. Mute her stories. Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you guys follow each other, mute their stories. When you first start dating a woman, even if you follow each other on social media, mute them on social media because what that's going to prevent you from doing is always swiping up, always liking their stories, always sliding in their DMs, and it's going to give you some restraint to be able to not dive in head first too soon because a lot of times she will be posting because she wants to get you involved and she wants to get your validation attention. Mute the stories. So let's get into red flag number 2, the I've never been dumped before girl. So I don't hear this one talked about too much in the dating community, but I think it's a really important one to keep in mind because women who are like this very rarely will admit fault and they have the I am the prize mentality. Now again, if you're in a relationship with somebody, I really like to think that both of you are the prize. It's a mutually beneficial relationship that you're in. If it's very one-sided and one party is not agreeable at all, it's going to be a pain for the other person in a relationship because a relationship is a cooperation between two people. It's not some sort of dictatorship where one side takes all and the other person doesn't ever have to compromise. When you're dealing with one of these women that's never been dumped before, never been denied by a man, the second you start to do things that she doesn't like, she's going to bail. And she has a very avoidant attachment style because all she's trying to do is preserve her ego. If you have this belief or this idea about yourself that you're putting yourself on this pedestal and that you are better than everybody else and that nobody's going to dump you and you're always going to get your way, if you're in a relationship with somebody, the second you feel like things are not going your way, what you're going to do is you're going to sabotage or you're going to bail because your ego can't handle getting dumped or the person that you're talking to losing interest. So never date the woman that's the I've never been dumped or I've never been denied by a guy woman. She will always bail, she will always flake, and she will not be able to commit. Red flag number 3 is the woman who is the I am the prize woman. The women who exhibit the I am the prize mentality often flock with a big group of other women who feel the same way, and oftentimes they're always single. Now listen, if you're somebody who's been single for a long time and you've been single by choice, that's your prerogative. That's completely up to you, and it's the same with women. If a woman wants to be single and stay single, that is completely her prerogative. But you guys have to understand something. I'm coming at this video from the lens of watching out for red flags for women who will not commit in a relationship. If somebody said, I never want to get married, I never want to have kids, I want to stay single, that's great. They can do whatever they want. But you guys have to understand something, that when you're dating somebody and you're looking for somebody who's going to be a good girlfriend, potential wife, potential mother down the road, it needs to be somebody who can compromise, that is a partnership and is cooperation. Anybody who comes into it with this I'm the prize mentality and that I'm a woman and because I'm a woman, I'm a prize that is to be won and men need to pursue me and they need to do all the work, I'm telling you, it will never be enough for a woman like this. And much like the I've never been dumped before girl, this girl who is the prize is always going to be super avoidant, and she's going to expect that any guy that she's with, he is going to do all the work. Again, if you want to be successful in a relationship, I think you need to understand that at the very least it's 50-50, but more often than not, if you want there to be desire in the relationship, she has to be pursuing you. Let's get into red flag number 4. Red flag number 4 is the cheater, or the one who cheated in the past and she has changed. I truly believe that for 90+% of people who have cheated in the past will cheat again. And here's why. You make the conscious decision to sleep with someone or be with somebody else while you're in a relationship when you could have left that relationship. So you understand something. Women who can bring themselves to cheating while they're in a relationship or sleeping with another guy while they are in a relationship, they are not long-term material. And more often than not, there's a lot of red flags that they have outside of that, and they probably have cheating somewhere in the lineage of their family, because there have been a lot of studies out there that say if their family members have cheated, if they have kind of a lineage of cheating in the past, that there is a good chance that they will cheat too. So you have to watch out for things like this. And again, what is a woman going to do? She's going to tell you that she cheated in the past and that she doesn't feel bad for it. Of course, she's going to try to take accountability and say she feels bad for that. But you have to understand something, that just because somebody feels bad for doing something doesn't mean they're not going to do it again. It really takes a conscious effort, and it takes a concerted effort to push your emotions down and be able to cheat on somebody and then continue a relationship with that person after you cheated on them. Red flag number 5. She participates in hookup culture. And I even want to add on top of this one, she has been single forever, right? So understand something, that if a woman has been single for 2 or 3 years, but maybe she's had a couple situationships, or maybe she's casually dated a little bit, but she's been talking to the same guy for a couple months, right? I don't really look at that as participating in hookup culture, because she was trying to form a relationship with that guy. But if she has just been single and really she hasn't had any situationships and she's just been going out and having fun, I'm telling you right now, you should not put that girl in long-term relationship material or wife material bucket. There's no reason to do that, and here's the main reason why you shouldn't do that. When people are single and they have freedom, they show you exactly who they are. If you were a guy and you were out, again, trying to sweep the streets on Saturday night, like I often say, and that's all you want to do, and every girl you hook up with you never try to get a relationship with, I would consider you a red flag to a woman if you were looking for a real relationship. The same thing goes for women. If a woman is single and all she's doing is sleeping with random guys and not trying to get a relationship from any of those guys, why would anybody think that that girl would be a good fit for a long-term relationship? And understand that it's not just about somebody going out having a good time. It's the fact that they consistently want to keep doing that, but they cannot get a relationship out of it, or they don't want to get a relationship out of it. And there's another big reason why dating the girl who's the hookup girl is a terrible idea. If you think about it, if a woman has slept with 60, 70, 100 plus guys, and these numbers are not unrealistic, there's a lot of women in their mid-20s, early 30s that are pushing triple digits or over triple digits, and that's just the fact of the matter, because they have so many options on dating apps, and they have so many options when they go out at night, that if they don't have any restraint, their numbers will be that high. But here's one thing you have to understand. When a woman has slept with that many guys, the fact is she hasn't gotten a relationship from those men, but there's definitely been guys that she has an emotional attachment to. If somebody slept with triple digits of people and they don't have any emotional baggage or emotional attachment to any of the people that they slept with, I think that's even a bigger problem, right? Then we're talking about, like, as Jordan Peterson would say, some serious psychopathy going on there, where you're literally treating other people as a means to an end, and you're never getting a real relationship out of just hooking up. But understand, the reason why this is a problem is because she's sleeping with these guys, and there's always going to be guys in her past that are either going to come back, or she wanted more than they wanted her. And then if those guys come back, she would probably leave you for those guys, because she has those emotional hangups, she has those emotional pieces of baggage around those guys. Please avoid the hookup girl. So red flag number 6, as they say, birds of a feather flock together. So if all of the friends of the girl you're dating are walking red flags, all they do is hook up, they do stupid shit every weekend, do you really think that the girl that you're talking to is any different? Now understand something, she might be different from those other girls, but the fact is she still tolerates and condones that behavior. If you were friends with 5 guys that did nothing but drugs, they boozed on the weekend, they never hit the gym, they weren't motivated, they didn't make any money, they complained about their family, they hated their job, and all you did was hang out with negative people like that, don't you think you're either going to absorb some of that from those guys eventually, or it just shows that those are the type of people you feel happy hanging out with, either because you're elevated because they're not motivated and you're the cream of the crop in the group, or because internally you feel like you're just like them and you're not motivated. It's the same with these women. If she's hanging out with women that only booze all the time, they do drugs, they hook up all the time, they hate men, and they're negative, I'm telling you, that girl is a walking red flag. I've literally never met a woman in my life that has been close friends with walking red flags that she herself did not end up being a red flag. She was just better at hiding it. And what she would do is she would sandbag her other friends and make it look like I'm not like them, I don't do that, when ultimately she was just like them. Avoid the women with problematic friend groups. And also, why would you even want to hang out with her friends anyways if they all sucked? Red flag number 7 is very similar, and this is the woman who drinks, she does drugs, and she goes to the club or raves all the time. I don't think I need to elaborate much on this one, but you have to understand that people's habits control the outcome that they're going to get in their life. So if the one that you're talking to is constantly hungover, addicted to drugs, has serious personality disorders that she's not working on, just lives a lifestyle that is not conducive to being healthy, how do you possibly think you're going to fix this woman or be patient enough for this woman to actually be a beneficial partner for you in a relationship? Now understand something. I'm not talking about if somebody falls on hard times, there's really bad things going on in their life and you're already in a relationship. I'm talking about you're going out and dating women that have substance abuse problems and they have terrible habits and they don't take ownership or accountability for the things that they're doing. Oftentimes when people have issues with alcohol and drugs, they're going to be doing dumb stuff on the weekends. They're not going to be sleeping well. They're going to be in a bad mood. They're going to have low libido and they're going to be irritable towards you all the time because they're just literally not healthy with themselves. They're not feeling good about themselves and they lack motivation. You should not be with somebody who lives an unhealthy lifestyle. Pretty simple. Red flag number 8, the woman who cannot take accountability. And you know, if you watch any dating content on the internet, there are a lot of women who cannot take accountability. I want to give you a very good example of somebody who does not take accountability. A woman who either does something or says something that hurts your feelings that you do not appreciate, and you express to her your feelings about something, and instead of saying, I wish I didn't make you feel that way, or maybe I'll do it different next time, or I want to compromise on that, I want to have a conversation about it, what she does is she blames you, or she gaslights you and says that you feeling that way is your fault and it's not her problem that you feel that way. You need to be with somebody that's able to own up to the things that they do wrong because, again, you are looking for a partner in a relationship that has the ability to compromise with you. And just like the I am the prize girl that we talked about earlier, very rarely will the I am the prize girl take accountability, because if she starts to believe that she is not the prize because she's human and starts to live outside of her ego, she realizes that she's not as great as she really is. And I'm not saying this because this is only a women problem. I'm saying this because this is a literal human psychology problem. People who do not have the ability to compromise and take accountability for their actions are never good partners in relationships because they only care about themselves. The women who tend to not be able to take accountability are always the ones who have toxic exes. It was never their fault. Their parents are awful. Their jobs suck today. Everyone has unrealistic expectations and nothing is their fault. And again, I want to harp on this again. The women who say that they only have toxic exes, those are the women who cannot take accountability, because the fact of the matter is they decided to date him. They decided to stay with him. And more often than not, if they broke up, they decided to get back together with him. If they were to take accountability and look at that, they would admit their fault, They might agree that that guy sucked, but they would admit their fault and they would say that that is not the type of guy that they should go back to and they shouldn't have associated with that guy. And last but definitely not least is the complete opposite of the woman who thinks she is the prize. And this is the woman who is completely codependent on you for all things in life, and her happiness is completely derived from the way that you feel or you act that day. Now, if you guys haven't seen the video that I made about the wife reacting to her husband's bachelor party, I want you to make sure that you go watch this video after. But if you came from that video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you are with a woman that is so codependent on you that all of your actions completely disrupt her emotions and she has outbursts to get attention from other people or social media because of how you made her feel, these types of women will ruin your life. Instead of seeking therapy, support group, a community, and her friends and really working with them to work through her issues, what she will do is she will treat you like every source of happiness in her life, meaning that emotionally, financially, she will depend on you for her happiness. And what this means is if you're not showing up and you're not perfect, you're not doing everything the way that she wants to, she's not going to be happy with you. You know the old saying, happy wife, happy life? She's not going to be very happy if you're not always doing things and acting subservient to her and only taking her feelings into account. The women who usually overly depend on men in relationships are the same one that will not allow men to have their own opinions in the relationship, because if the opinion flies in the face of what she feels to be true, it's going to make her upset. And if she is upset, then the attention is no longer on her, it's on him. So again, these are the types of women that really depend on you for their happiness. The woman that is completely dependent on you for her own happiness is also a woman that's going to completely lack any sort of reciprocity in a relationship, because when her needs are not being met, she's immediately going to blame you for this. So it's like the old saying goes, like how to fill up somebody's cup, right? Like she's constantly worried about you filling up her cup for her because she cannot do that herself. So again, she doesn't have the ability or the self-confidence or the self-esteem to be happy on her own. She doesn't have the self-confidence to be happy without being in a relationship or without being dependent on a man. So you are her source of happiness. And what this red flag looks like early on in dating is the type of woman that you text for a little bit, maybe you cannot answer for 2 or 3 hours because you're working, and she starts double texting you, she starts triple texting you, she starts asking you where you are, assumes that you're cheating, assumes that you're doing crazy stuff. You can also see this get exacerbated when she's out drinking or when she's with her friends, because like they say, it's like a drunk mind, a sober heart, right? You know, when you get drunk, all these things come out and she starts that crazy. You realize that she has some of this baggage that she hasn't worked through before. So ultimately, being patient in the dating process is super important. So if you're a guy that needs to understand how to master the 3 tenets that it takes to be successful with women, I want you to click on this video right here to see exactly how to do that to give yourself a better chance of securing a relationship with a healthy woman. So again, guys, I hope this helped you identify some red flags in dating. Go to the next video here to see how to master those 3 tenets of dating to find your healthy relationship.